Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, and today we're here with Ian Friend from Ferrum Network, where he's the co-founder and COO. Thank you so much for being on the show. And do you just want to start off by giving us a little bit of an introduction about yourself?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me on, Scotty. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
Love the flag you have there. Um,
thanks.
so sure, I'll give a little background on myself, and just sort of segueing into Ferrum Network, what we're doing is sort of a high level. I've been in blockchain cryptocurrency for about 3 years now. First as an investor, and then professionally, first as a lawyer, and then ultimately became the co-founder of Ferrum Network this was in mid 2018 is when we got our start. Prior to that, I co-founded the blockchain practice team at the law firm I was working at in New York, and met my co-founder, who is sort of the technical mastermind behind Ferrum, at a networking event. He was working on some interesting cross-chain interoperability solution, and it sounded quite promising. A few weeks really after we met, we won a competition to pitch the project at the main stage of Consensus, which is this big conference in New York. And God, that was in May 2018, and it's kind of been a crazy ride ever since.
Yeah, wow, it feels like so long ago, back in 2018. Yeah. So for people who don't know what Ferrum Network is, can you give a brief introduction to what that's all about?
Absolutely. So Ferrum Network is an ecosystem of DeFi tools that are designed to help facilitate the mass adoption of cryptocurrency. One of the things that people have been talking about since I've got into space, and probably before my time even, was how do we get mass adoption? How do we get people to actually use this stuff? But it felt like no one was focusing on the simple problems that everyday users may face, such as how does one send cryptocurrency, right? How do this notion of a wallet address? This is a strange and complicated thing for average people. So we've solved that problem with some of the tech we built. We have a lot of technology which I can explain throughout the interview, but the point is, it sort of felt like no one's been focusing on those simple yet really fundamental problems that have been impeding mainstream adoption. And that's what we're trying to do. So we have a wallet, a fiat on ramp and off ramp in Africa. We have a staking system, which is essentially a high yield decentralized savings account for all ERC20 tokens. And we have a host of other sort of valuable user friendly DeFi products that we've launched that are coming in the near future.
Yeah. Yeah. How many like projects do you guys currently have? Because I'm always seeing projects popping up that are saying, you're like, yeah, we're now staking with Ferrum, and I'm seeing that like left and right. So it's pretty wild, and that's why I wanted to reach out to you guys, because I was like, wow, every project seems to be staking with Ferrum now. So how many projects are you guys actually working with right now?
It's a good question. I'll have to check my list. It's got to be over 20 by now.
True.
The staking thing sort of came to us by happenstance in a sense. I mean, we built this technology, which what it does is it allows participants to lock their tokens and earn basically interest rate of return or rewards based on how long they stake for. But it's very flexible. It's very customizable. So the APRs and the length of time staking and all these details can be customized based on what the projects want. So we launched it for Ferrum back in November, and we did another round in February. And we realized it's great for newer projects that might not have their own technology yet, and might not have their own utility, but may have just done a raise. And that's what a lot of this market is right now. And so as soon as we started advertising that, hey, we have this flexible staking mechanism for ERC20 tokens, it really just took off like wildfire. So now, it's been about a month of us putting this out there, and I think we've signed up over 20 client partners, and there's many more in the pipeline, and we want to keep this thing rolling as long as we can.
Yeah. 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 That's awesome. That's awesome. So what problem exactly does Ferrum set out to be the solution to?
So, like I was saying, I think we've been talking about mass adoption for years and years, and there's no simple solution to mass adoption. It needs to happen on the layer one side with scalability issues of Ethereum and Bitcoin, and I think it needs to happen on the product side with making things like onboarding people easier to crypto. It needs to happen on with respect to fiat on ramp and on ramps, because you still need a means of interacting with sort of the old traditional world of finance. So we tackle those problems chiefly through our wallet, which is called the Unifier wallet. We've built technology called link drops, which allows users to send crypto anywhere over any medium using a link. And what this
Okay.
does essentially means that I can now send crypto over Twitter or Telegram or Facebook, even email, and I don't need the recipient's wallet address in advance.
Mm.
What happens is the recipient clicks the link. They either download the wallet if they don't have it, or if they do have it, they just click accept. And then I, as a sender, get a notification that they've accepted, and I counter accept. Essentially, this solved the problem of the fear everyone has when sending crypto, because it's
Hmm.
an transaction in most cases. But we've built in what we call a double confirmation, which basically means I can confirm that I'm dealing with the right person. You confirm you're dealing with the right person, and only then do I send the transaction on chain.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of simple tool that's very user friendly. It's platform agnostic. Doesn't require people to know wallet addresses. That's the kind of thing that we're focusing on in our quest to help solve that problem of mass adoption.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's actually really, really important because for most of what I see trying to solve that issue is human readable addresses. But there's still, only certain wallets work with that, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's really a really unique, interesting solution that you guys have created. And it also makes sense because then, just anyone could be sending it around on Twitter and stuff like that. So I think that's really, really fantastic that you guys are doing that. So in what ways is Ferrum involved in DeFi? Is it mainly like staking, or do you want to just kind of elaborate on that a little?
Sure. So, I mean, we've been focused on the financial aspects of cryptocurrency before DeFi was even a term, right? I mean, we launched fiat on ramp and off ramp with some sort of DeFi esque features back in 2019, which is still a thriving business, by the way, in Nigeria and expanding into Ghana. But I think the primary examples of our sort of DeFi arsenal, so to speak, is of course the staking, right, which is a smart contract based staking, works for any ERC20 token. Um, but we've just launched a new feature into the Unifier wallet that I think is just squarely within the sort of province of DeFi, and we call this swap drops. It's the same concept as link drops in that it's a transaction embedded in a link, but instead of a one-way send, it's a two-way atomic swap. And so
Hmm.
why is this unique and important? Well, for one, again, this is done through a link that it can be shared anywhere. So you can now enter into these swap transactions over Telegram. And for two, I think there's been a recognition in the industry now that we really do need to move away from these centralized gatekeepers, centralized exchanges, and in the case of OTC, which is really what the swap drops product is solving, the escrow, right, middlemen. And so what swap drops allows you to do is enter into a risk-free OTC transaction using a shareable link that can be shared anywhere. And by the way, it's less gas fees than Uniswap. And it's completely anonymous, completely risk free to both parties. And I think that to me has the power to really change the OTC industry. And that's what we're working on now, is really marketing this product, showing people really what it can do and what it can replace. And I'm excited to see where we can take it.
Yeah, yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I've always said like I really appreciate swap exchanges and how easy it makes it for everyone. So being able to do that with a link again is just absolutely fantastic, and especially that you can do it without KYC restrictions and all the other things that come along with exchanges. So, how exactly does the staking work on Ferrum? I want to just dive into that because I know a lot of people who follow my channel are really all about passive income. So, let's talk about the staking aspects and how that all works.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Ferrum staking is really designed to be flexible and customizable. So, depending on which project is using the staking, it might be slightly different. But essentially, it is what I would call a lock and earn type smart contract, where again participants they opt into the staking. It's fully decentralized, so they do it through MetaMask, connecting to smart contract like you would connect to, Uniswap. Um, they follow 3 or 4 easy automated steps to stake. How many tokens they want to stake, and then they send it to the staking contract. And depending on how long they stake for, typically the longer they stake for, the more interest or rewards they will earn. And then there will come a time when the staking period ends, or they'll have the option to withdraw early, and they just simply unstake by following, again, simple steps, and they get their principal plus their returns back, right? Automatically sent back to the wallet they stake from. So it's super simple. Anyone could do it, and the great thing is it's customizable. So you know, we've had some projects that they saw the merit in long term staking pools, like a year long, and with very high reward, so up as high as 85%. We've had some clients that prefer a little bit of a shorter period with some lesser rewards, right? And so there's sort of a flavor for everybody. But yeah, hopefully that's a nice overview for you and your user followers.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, I just want to make sure that everyone is fully aware and able to get on and just get going right away. So it's just you get the application, you can put your ERC20 tokens on that are stakeable. Is it only certain ones that you're currently partnered with, or what does that look like?
Right. So you know it would be great if we could just enable staking for any token, kind of like how Uniswap, you can just any token and then someone can contribute liquidity. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work that way because you need someone to contribute the rewards,
Hmm.
the essentially interest that people will be earning from staking. And in all cases, that's going to be coming from the projects themselves, basically using some of the tokens in their reserves and in their marketing category of tokens or what have you, to provide those rewards for the staking. So yes, it needs to be a relationship with the project. So it's we're working very closely with the projects. They're sort of like clients of ours, but it's also partnership in most cases, and we work with them to help structure staking that's going to be the most impactful and beneficial for them and their communities based on their token metrics and things like that. But yeah, it's been quite the ride this past 4 weeks. Just seeing all the demand for a product of ours. It's really humbling, and it's been great to work with so many awesome teams out there. And I'm looking forward to continuing to do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So is it mostly projects reaching out to you, or do you guys have projects in mind that you're kind of looking into that you want to have on Ferrum? What is that process like right now?
Yeah. So typically we actually get leads from the community itself. Ferrum
Mm.
has an amazing community built over the past 2 years. They're really passionate. They love the project, and they want to see us partner with different other projects that they're part of. But we also offer referral fee, because we feel like anyone who helps us bring in a new staking partner, a new client, and we get some, we ultimately do get money from this, that they should share in that. By the way, all the fees we earn from the staking are used to buy back Ferrum off the secondary market, and we've bought back probably about nearly $60,000 worth of Ferrum already from the market from this.
Wow.
And it's sitting in a wallet. It's verifiable. We publish the address and everything. So this does provide utility for Ferrum token. We weren't really sure early on whether it would take off, And so we were thinking, okay, should we make stakers who stakes a DeFi Pi, which is one of the clients we just worked with. If they stake DeFi Pi, should we make the users also stake Ferrum? And we thought, I'm not sure we need to add that sort of that friction or that requirement quite yet. So let's just do this sort of intermediate step of, okay, well, anyone, the projects are paying for this. Let's use it to provide some Ferrum utility, and it's turned out quite nicely, I think, for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely sounds like a win-win. So how did Ferrum Network actually get its name, and or like what was the idea behind the name and the original creation of it in general?
Yeah, so Ferrum actually means iron in Latin.
Mm,
And I know we haven't talked about this at all, but really what we're building towards, slowly but surely, is an interoperability protocol that runs on a DAG. So it's basically a high speed cross chain network that will allow users of say, the Unifier wallet to exchange and transact any digital asset in milliseconds for near zero fees, fees paid in Ferrum as gas. So that's what we're building towards, right? And that was the vision from early on when Naeem and I met in New York back in early 2018. We've taken a bit of circuitous route, but that's by design because we really feel strongly that launching a mainnet without any users and no products on it is essentially worthless because you're not going to have anyone using the mainnet, like the vast majority of mainnets out there. So what we wanted to do was build our own useful products, like First Kuti, our African product, our African exchange, fiat on ramp, and Unifier Wallet, our non-custodial mobile wallet. Scale those up, and then launch the mainnet, migrate those products on top, and then provide the users the options to either run transactions over the Ferrum network or they can continue to run transactions over Ethereum. We're not going to force anyone to swap. We're not going to do that thing, which I think is often a big mistake for projects. But the benefit of running a transaction on the Ferrum network is you can use an ERC20 token, a wrapped or synthetic version of Bitcoin, or wrapped synthetic version of Ethereum or Ripple or Binance Chain token, etc. But the transaction is all running on the same underlying DAG-based network, which is inherently faster and cheaper than a blockchain and uses Ferrum as gas. So how this relates to, and by the way, we're going to launch this mainnet it should be early 2020. We have so much on the roadmap and stuff coming up, and with staking taking off, things have been a little slower than we wanted. But how this relates to the name. Okay, how does this relate to the name Ferrum? Ferrum means iron in Latin, and iron has a unique property, which essentially causes other elements to sort of fuse into becoming iron given enough time.
mm.
And so we kind of liken that to the Ferrum network itself, which is an interoperability network bringing networks together. All right, so iron brings elements together. Ferrum network brings networks together. That's
Okay.
sort of the idea behind the name.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's awesome. And what are some of the like next big updates that you guys have in the works? I know you've been talking a little bit about that, but like what are some big updates that you got in the works in maybe like the next 6 months or so?
Sure. So, we've been talking about staking for a long time, but the truth is we haven't actually launched the staking platform within the Unifier wallet yet. But that is coming apparently next week.
Okay.
And we'll start rolling out. And we have a backlog of so many clients that we need to actually launch the staking for. So it's going to be day after day of just boom, like this product launched our staking. The next day, boom, they did it. And I think we're going to get a ton of users and a ton of excitement just deriving from that. Shortly thereafter, we're going to launch an initiative that I've been working on along with a lot of very well connected people I know in the space, and it's going to be this really really exciting and valuable initiative. I can't tell folks too much about it, but it
Fair enough. Yeah.
will provide um, more benefits to holding Ferrum token. Right now, there's numbers of benefits for holding Ferrum token. You essentially get dividends um, based on a number of activities we do, but that generates tokens. We then send those tokens out to anyone who holds 100,000 or more Ferrum in their wallet. This is going to provide even more value, even more monetary benefit and gains to those who hold Ferrum. How that's going to happen and what it is, I'm not going to say yet, but it is very exciting. I think it's going to make a lot of noise, really, in the industry, just based on the partners we're bringing on board with it. So that's coming shortly after the staking, by the way.
Okay.
The third thing that we're working towards is a sort of the evolution of the swap drop technology, which allows you to do risk-free OTC transactions of ERC20 tokens. We're going to enable this such that you'll be able to do risk-free OTC transactions of ERC20 tokens and fiat. So you will finally be able to sell your altcoins for real money.
True.
That, I think, is huge. Solves a huge problem in the crypto space because, as everybody knows, buying and selling altcoins is a huge pain. You can rarely do it with fiat. And then when you want to sell your altcoin position, you have to go through a series of exchanges and do all those steps and everything like that. So we're eliminating all that. Risk-free OTC of fiat and altcoins. I think it's going to be huge, and we're going to launch that hopefully in the next 2, 3, 4 months.
Awesome. Yeah, because yeah, just the amount of like fees for all the conversions that you have to make to actually get it out is just even that alone is going to turn some people off. So having direct to fiat is going to be huge, absolutely huge. I can't even stress how big of a deal that is. I'm sure people watching would be thrilled to have that right now. But yeah, in the next few months. So that's amazing. Where do you feel like Ferrum Network fits in with like other similar networks, and or do you feel like you're sort of like unique, and how are you guys different from other like similar projects or other staking DeFi models?
Yeah, I mean, I think about this a lot because we're actually working on a new website. We want to improve our messaging. It's one of the challenges we have as an ecosystem project that does so much is that there's no simple comparisons. You can't just be like, oh, they're like a low cap chain link, like because we're doing too much. We have an exchange in Africa. We have a staking as a service business. We have a swaps feature. That other projects that will be a standalone project in a lot of cases, but that's just a feature in our wallet, right? And we have a non-custodial wallet that's like Trust Wallet but with advanced technology such as link drop. So I mean, there's just so much going on that I think a lot of it gets lost, and unless you're one of these people that's going to dig deep into Ferrum, you're not going to pick up on it when you read the website. So we're redoing the website. But there's no simple comparison. Oh, and then the mainnet comes out. I mean, then it's like, is it like a Cosmos because it's an interoperability network, or is it like a Polkadot but way low cap, right? I mean, so there's the comparisons could go on, but it's every feature or every piece of the ecosystem has its own comparisons, its own competitors, its own markets. So that's our challenge, is sort of that messaging, and then also finding real use cases for this stuff and doing the things that make sense from a business standpoint. But yeah, hopefully in the next week or so, we'll have a new website that's a little bit more clear as to what's going on, what the value propositions are. Because yeah, that's the stuff that keeps me up at night.
Yeah, fair enough. So like would you consider like all of those projects like competitors to yours in a different way, or would you only consider some of them competitors? Like like what is your perspective on that?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly have competitors across each of the product lines. I mean, in Africa, there's a set of fiat on ramp competitor products that we go against. Unifier Wallet, I think, is probably the nearest competitor would be Trust Wallet, but Trust Wallet is much bigger than us, admittedly, right? So yeah, there's competitors across the product line, but I tend to think of the industry. I mean, we're a nascent industry. We're a small industry. If you've been in the space for long enough, you sort of get to know everybody. And so why not, instead of doing underhanded things to compete against each other, why not find ways to help each other and build each other up? And that's what I think we're doing in large part with the staking, right? I mean, we're giving staking to some newer projects that may be unknown. Bit of a risk on our part, but I remember when Ferrum was a new project and people wouldn't give us the time of day, and and that didn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel right to me now. So I think as an industry, we need to do a little bit better is helping each other, because if we can grow the pie, right? Let's grow the pie so more people come in, then that's better than backstabbing and trying to compete for this small dwindling piece of the pie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's how I think about competition in crypto.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk has always been somewhat of a role model of mine, and he's always said to build the biggest building, not try to tear down the buildings around you so that your building is bigger. And where do you see Ferrum going in the next year, and then maybe in the next 3 to 5 years? I know it's hard to look that far ahead in the crypto space because it's a wild west. But what do you what is the general idea that you guys have going forward in the next few years?
Yeah, well, I love the question, because I think as an industry, we need to do a better job of thinking a little bit more long term, and that's not just on the project side; that's on the investor side too. I think there's just way too much focus on short term returns, and it doesn't do. If it didn't do 5x in a week, the project is bad, right? That's
Yeah.
now the sentiment, now that the bull market seems to have returned, and I'm just shaking my head, thinking, God, people need some patience. But gripes aside, Ferrum has so much coming down the pipeline. Aside from everything I just talked about with the staking, and then this new initiative and the fiat swaps, the mainnet to me is going to become the real game changer, because I think there is now an extremely strong demand for DEXs, for cross-chain solutions. That, I think, is the next evolution of the industry, and we're actually perfectly positioned to capitalize on that, because the mainnet will come sometime early next year, and then we're going to build a DEX on top of it. And what that will mean is, the industry will finally have a DEX that can compete with the centralized exchanges, which have no problems doing cross-chain exchanges because it's all centralized. But so the Ferrum Infinity Dex, we call it, is going to have those same capabilities, same features, but be far faster than, say, Uniswap, be far cheaper than Uniswap because it does not run on Ethereum. It's going to have an interface similar to the centralized exchanges that everybody is familiar and comfortable with, but it won't have won't have the downsides of centralization that are so well documented. So I think that, to me, if we and it doesn't have to be Ferrum, by the way, but if the industry can build a DEX that is good as the best centralized exchange, it's going to be a huge game changer and huge for the industry. So that's what I'm most looking forward to, are those things, the mainnet and the DEX. But it's a long way to go. It's a long, in 3 to 5 years. I mean, gosh, it's hard to say, but I mean, we're already building out an ecosystem of projects coming on to Ferrum using our technology, whether it's staking or we were talking to another project now about using some of our other tech. So we're already thinking about DApp type projects building on Ferrum. So that's going to be coming, right? I mean, we're a small cap, but we have huge aspirations, and I think, given our track record of building useful tech, being able to generate serious revenue, onboarding many thousands of users, I think I'm hopeful that people see that we're here to stay, and we're here for the long term.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Well, those are all the questions I had for regarding Ferrum. I just have one last little like fun one, which is if you guys could get any crypto influencer to join Ferrum, who would you guys pick if you could have anyone join the team?
Join the team. That's a great question. I mean, I deal with influencers all the time. Some I like better than others. Uh, that's a real tough one. But I gotta give it up to someone I'm very close with. He's been really good to Ferrum even before people were giving us much attention, and he's become a close friend of mine. So, Bit Shaman, if you're watching, that's for you. I would definitely, if anyone would come on board, it would be him. He's a really good guy. He's supported us for a long time, and I'll appreciate that forever. So that's who I would choose. He's an unknown. He's not really a known influencer, by the way. He runs a
Oh, okay,
small
fair enough.
group, but just the big guys. Forget the big guys. I want to go with the guys that have been good to us and loyal to us since the beginning. So that's who I would choose.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, it's always good to stick with the people who stick with you. So where can everyone go to learn more about Ferrum, and where can they follow Ferrum on social media?
Yeah, sure. So we have a Twitter account at Ferrum.network, I believe it is, or at Ferrum Network. We have our Unifier Wallet, a Twitter, which is at Unifier Wallet. The most active place you can find us is the Telegram channel, which is just, I guess, Ferrum Network official, I think. And you can also find me on socials. I'm at iFriend05 pretty much across all the socials. So,
Perfect.
if you like what you heard and you want to learn more, you can reach out, and we'd love to have you in the community.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, everyone, make sure to go check that out. Let us know what you think about Ferrum and everything we discussed today. Make sure to go follow Ian and the Ferrum Network and join the Telegram and all that good stuff. Again, thank you so much for being on the show. And I'll probably have to I'll probably have to look into it a little bit more myself. Maybe grab a few bags of Ferrum myself.
No financial advice, but I wouldn't be opposed if you did.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
All right.
Thanks for watching this video to the very end. Since you did, make sure to give it a like and comment hashtag #1ham in the comments below, so that way I know that you watched the whole video. Also, please subscribe to this channel and feel free to follow me anywhere under @ScottC Business. I'm basically on every platform. You can also share this with someone else who might gain value from it, and that would be very helpful and impactful to helping my channel grow as well. If you'd like to support me more directly, you can also donate to scottcbusiness.eth or scottcbusiness.crypto listed below. Thank you so much for your support and for watching this video. I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scott C Business, signing off. Cheers.